It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM, and let's have a look now at what's going on in Great Flinders football. Big weekend of matches. Again, round 5 last weekend. A big round to come as well. Chris Prime joins me on the line. Primey, how's the crop going in, mate?
It's having a few hiccups, Regs, with a couple of flat tyres, a couple of things have fallen off. But, yeah, look, we're getting there slowly.
Literally the wheels have fallen off, they tell me.
Yeah, we had a wheel fall off last week and a couple of flat tyres and, must be management issues.
Well, the wheels haven't fallen off at Tumby Bay Footy Club, and that's where we'll start with your boys. Very, very good game of football between yourselves and United Yolanda. Unfortunately, couldn't kick straight, but Yolanda are a very good side. We know that. 11-8-74, the Eagles. And at Tumby Bay, 6-10-46. So they got you, but certainly not a drubbing by any stretch.
Oh, look, it wasn't. And I think there was only a few points in it at half-time. Tumby probably drew a few missed opportunities in the second half. But, the second half, Yolanda always seems to just have that little bit more control of the game. And Tumby just, while they kept fighting, just couldn't quite get back into it. So, look, it was disappointing to have a loss, but, it shows we're around the mark and a few areas to improve on.
That's true. Some quality up front for the Eagles, kicking 3 each in Bryce Breed and Casey Carr. We know their pedigree. Did keep most of their big forwards, in particular the Crettenans, relatively quiet, though, which you'd be pleased with. Tom McDonald and Oz Richardson named best for you boys.
Yeah, it did help that maybe a couple of the Yolanda boys might have pulled out with a little bit of a cough.
The spicy cough got hold of him, did it?
Yes. Yeah, I think there was a couple out. So, while they might have held them goalless, it's not hard to hold people goalless if they don't play.
That's true. The other Crittenden that I could see on the team sheet is Jack Crittenden, not the other one. So Michael did play, but Jack was the only other Crittenden in the side. So a bit of spicy cough going on there. I noticed Reece Francis back at the A grade, just only a 1 week spell in the twos.
I was talking to him Saturday night. Yeah, it was all about lawn mowing. He didn't mow the lawn 1 week and paid the penalty. So, in all honesty, I think he wanted to watch a couple of younger blokes have a run around and give them the opportunity. So, good on him to be able to, I'll play a game of resis and give a younger guy a go and really assess where they're at. So, it's just building a better club. Making a good club better by, giving those young guys an opportunity.
Yeah. All right. We move on to Cummins Oval, where Cougars, we've just been waiting for them to bounce back. I mean, this was a side that was undefeated until grand final day last year. I don't think they've won a game since then. Locke got hold of them again, 14-9-93 to Cougars 5-7-37. They've fallen off a cliff.
There's something, whether it's a couple of players missing, all the talk last year was Yowie kicking goals and it's hard for a forward to kick goals if the ball's not coming in. And I still think a big part of their year last year was their midfield. And I don't think it's quite clicked. There's a couple of guys missing from that, and they're going into games with quite a young side, and just not winning the midfield. It just doesn't give the ball flow into the forward lines. As I said, it's hard to kick goals if you haven't got it getting in there quick and efficiently. So I think their biggest area they've got to work on is their midfield. Are probably and due to their midfield being down a little bit, they're probably leaking a few more goals than they did last year. So it's areas they've got to work on, and as they get a few players back, that will improve. But Locke were too good. And it was that simple. And Locke are competitive week in, week out. And if you're not quite on your game, they'll take you apart.
Well, they certainly got hold of Cougars in this one. Pretty tight at half-time, only a goal in it, but a 6-0-0 third quarter just blew Cougars off the park, and they were never coming back from there. Kicked just the 1 point after half-time, Cougars. Extraordinary. And Travie Beard booted 6. So Beard versus Wagner, you'd pay good money to watch those two full forwards go at it.
Oh, you would. And Yeah, look, Trav plays quite high, quite often at centre half forward, and he's just a class act. Well, both of them are, and it still comes down you got to get that delivery coming in, and if you can use those forwards well, the score's on the board. So, Locker just playing that good brand of footy again.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's talk about the last game, which was a shellacking. Elliston Districts just towed up Ayr United. 24-13, 157. The Saints 1-2-8. Gibson 7, Paul 5, and then a host of guys booting 2 or 3. Kenny, Rosalia, Feldus. Some big names running around for this Elliston District side still, but the Saints are really battling.
Oh, look, they are. They'll keep battling, and it's in their DNA. They just keep battling, but it will get harder and harder, and it's hard to stay motivated. It's hard getting to training and working on things, and they got some good young footballers in there, but they get disheartened. They've got to just keep trying to stay in games as long as they can, and at the moment they're getting it blown away early and then being competitive later in the games. They've got to sort of try and get going at the start and stay with sides. I think if they can stay with the side for that quarter and then push that out to a half, they just it builds their confidence, and at the moment they're just getting blown away in the first 5-10 minutes, and there's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah. Well, they won't get beaten this week, the Saints, because they've got the bye. So they'll enjoy putting their feet up for a week, lick their wounds, and try and see what they can do on the other side of that. But, of course, Tumby will be in action this weekend against Elliston Districts. Again at home, your boys, Elliston Districts, coming to town. Now, Primey, before we talk about the A-grade game, will you be running around in the B-grade?
Yeah, look, I believe I will be. I've been dropped twice this year due to enough numbers, but I think this week I might get a game.
All right, well, there's a fair chance you might get an opportunity to run around on the same field as a Olympic gold medalist. You ever done that before?
No, I haven't. They were expecting rain, but I don't think it'll be quite enough for this bloke.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be able to freestyle down the wing, but he's named, and we assume it's the same Kyle Chalmers because he's got a brother Jackson who's named as well for Elliston Districts in the reserves. So we know that the swimming trials have been on, and the story of Cody Simpson beating Kyle in the butterfly semi-final or whatever it was, but doesn't have to qualify for the 100 free because he's an Olympic medalist. So, well, maybe it'll happen. I don't know. But one thing we know is on Play HQ, Kyle and Jackson Chalmers are both named to play in the reserves for Elliston Districts. And
they're there, and it will be, if they run on the oval, it will be a sensation, actually. It will be, it's not you put it on your bucket list to play against a Olympic gold medalist, but wasn't looking for it. But, yeah, I'll tick it off if it happens.
Do you take a little autograph book out there with you, Primey, and run up to him through the game and say, hey, just, make it out to Chris? Maybe you could trade one each. Yeah.
No, I look at, you see these guys on TV and you're in awe of what they can do professionally in their chosen sport, and like to see him come back. I mean, even if he's just at the footy,
yeah. If
he doesn't play, like to just see him come back into the community is a wonderful thing. Like I know the Sapsaza swimming team was over there and he had photos with them, and like it just encourages young kids to get out, and whether it's swimming or football or whatever it is, like you go, wow, there's an Olympic gold medalist out here, like, and we should be in awe of it, like, because it's an achievement that he's worked hard for, and that inspires our younger kids. Like, I'm in awe. If he runs on the footy field, I'll be sitting there in awe.
Yep.
Like thinking, wow, yeah. So
yep.
I'll just add him to the father-son list I've played against.
Well, let's hope it happens. But let's have a look at the A-grade game, though. Big game, this one. Elliston Districts, Tumby Bay. They're in pretty good nick at the moment, and Tumby going okay, but you might have a few wounded that will be missing in action this week. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of little niggles, just sore hamstrings and the like. And I think this early in the season, with the bye coming up, like, you don't risk those things. You give them a week off and make sure they're right in a fortnight, 3 weeks' time. So, because otherwise they can blow out to, 6 or 7 week injuries. So, there'll be a couple of guys that are a bit sore and a couple of guys away. So, no excuses. We'll have 21 out and so Elliston, but I think Elliston Districts will probably just get the chocolates for the day. Like, they're a pretty strong side this year. They had a couple of small holes last year, and they've filled them. They've recruited well and filled those holes, and they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Well, they're second on the ladder at the moment. Tumby Bay third on the ladder, only percentage separating the two sides at the minute. So it's actually a big game, this one. You can lock down a top 2 spot. This is the year you want it, I reckon. Oh,
yeah, definitely. Tumby will be wanting to win because, as you said, they will just keep them in that second spot and keep them in touch, like even on the same number of points. Like it's so critical early wins in the year. And we'll see that when we talk about one of the later games. Tumby will be fighting hard, but I think Elliston will get over the line.
All right. Well, let's talk about that one that you're referring to, I think, which is Cougars taking on Ramblers. Always a big rivalry between these two. Of course, it'll be played at Cummins, but the important thing to note here is that Cougars need to get a rattle on. They are 0 from, 4 or 3 at the moment. Anyway, they haven't got a win on the board. Haven't won since, first semi-final last year. Second semi-final last year, I think. So they need a win. And Ramblers, well, they're clinging on to 4th spot at the moment. They desperately need a win as well. This one will be on.
It will be. And, I think you're right. Like, you set yourself up at the start of the year. You want your wins. You know to make the 4, you have to beat 3 other sides. And it's come to the crunch time for Cougars. Like, I actually think if they drop this one, it's going to be hard for them to make the 4, because then they have to start beating nearly all the sides, because they'll be 2 or 3 games out of the 4 plus percentage. So they'll have a lot riding on this. And Ramblers, Cougars, well, you can't get a much bigger rivalry. It'll be hard at it. And Ramblers are playing some good footy, and so Cougars will need to bring their A game, and they haven't quite got that out of the kit bag yet this year, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think Ramblers will get over the line.
All right. Well, it'd be a game man to tip against Ramblers at the moment. Cougars haven't won in 6 months, so but there's still some quality there in that Cougars team, so they need to get a rattle on. But the last game of the round, this will tell us where Locker's at. They take on United Yolana, the ultimate litmus test. We say it every week with whoever they're playing. At the Couplex, though, there's no bigger challenge, and there's no love lost between these two sides either. Talk about rivalries.
Oh, look, no, there isn't. And Lock just continually go hard, but we keep saying it week in, week out. Yolana, they almost know what each other are doing before you do it. It's like they don't even have to think about it, and it actually is enjoyable watching them. Not when they're just walloping you, but it is enjoyable. It just seems to flow at times, and they turn it on for 5-10 minutes, and they take the game away. But Lock will bring their tough, hard attack at the ball, and they will be right in it. And I just think it'll be sometime in the third quarter, Yolana will go, yep, we'll get going now, and they'll pull away.
Yep, that's their MO. But, Lock, if Travie Beer can get hold of a few up front, who knows? They're an enigma, the Roos, and, those early wins we talked about, if they could pick up a surprise one here, then they become a team in the box seat to maybe play finals. Hard to believe, Lock, with the season they've had, and we've talked about them as if their foot's been on the till, but last Saturday was their first win of the year in the A grade, which surprised me a little bit. I didn't expect it. I thought they'd won a couple, but apparently not. Their first win of the year last week.
Yeah, it's I think the Tumby Lock game was 3 points, and those close games make a massive difference. If you can get those, that's one step closer. As I said, you got to beat 3 other sides, and Most of them you play twice, and if you split that, it comes down to percentage. So, look, Lock are always around the mark. They're just not quite getting over the line when they need to, and I think it'll be tough for them again Saturday.
Yep. All right. Anything else, mate?
No, that's pretty much it. We're looking for an exciting weekend of footy, and with Kinlow and under 15s coming up, like squads are out, and those young ones will start building for those games. So we'll talk about them when they get closer. We
will. Norwood Cup will be played over Mortlake weekend, and of course the Kinlow Cup up in July. We'll talk about those in the future, but. Primey, good to talk to you again as always, mate. Good luck for the weekend, and just look after Kyle, please. No banging into him. We need him for Paris, all right? Look after him.
Yeah, no, there'll be no worries. I won't get anywhere near anyone. Actually, don't get that near the ball either, Reeks.
Well, there's a bloke up there in your forward line hogging it at the moment. We'll talk about him next week too. Good on you, Primey.
No worries. Thanks.